many people in America fear their government, and the government is being run by too many powerful agencies like the IRS and others. I think it's time the people take the country back through their representative government.
Hey, Mr. Politician, living on that hill, living in that lap of luxury on we the people's bill. Don't have a clue how the other half lives, and that is a shame. It's time to stop the tyranny. You keep pushing through your bills, going for revolution, going for it now. It's time to save our Constitution while we still got the guns in our hands.
Hi, welcome to Freedom TV. I'm Renee Kimball, your host, and we're going to have a show all about the Tax Day Tea Party that's happening this Wednesday. I think you're going to be very impressed and very excited about something that actually gives you an opportunity to have your voice here in Portland. First, we're going to go to the Sovereign Soapbox, and that's the little notice that lets you know about the Tax Day Tea Party. So this is my Sovereign Soapbox. This is where I get to do my commercial. And the next screen coming up will tell you all about the Tax Day Tea Party. My tongue doesn't work. And it will be happening this Wednesday at Pioneer Square. 6 p.m., so be there. It's going to be a party. There's going to be speakers. There's going to be all kinds of events. There's going to be entertainment. And it would be a really good idea for you to bring 2 cans of food, because those will be going to a charity. So join us this Wednesday at the Tax Day Tea Party. Now we're going to go to our normal short. This is a new series that we're starting. This one's going to be on first aid in the wilderness. So this is our new edition of Surviving and Thriving. So with that, we're going to go to Jean Ward's wife, who is, well, she doesn't show up very much in the video, but she produced this, and it's excellent information about how you can do first aid in the wilderness. So this is, what is first aid? Surviving and Thriving.
Emergency treatment is administered to an injured or sick individual before professional medical care is available. It can happen to anyone at any time. The person who administers first aid should be trained and only treat their level of knowledge and training. An example would be a trip and fall, which could produce a scrape and bruising, to a more serious injury of severe bleeding, to broken bones or head injuries. Types of illnesses that might strike someone could be heat or cold related, breathing, or heart attacks. In some areas, you must get their consent before administering first aid. There are rules before administering first aid to any individual. Do they want our help? Will we cause more harm to the individual, others, or more importantly, ourselves? We need to determine the severity of the injury or illness and treat the life-threatening injury or illness first. A minor injury like a scrape would require cleaning and watch for infection. A minor illness might simply be a headache, which the individual has medication for. With a minor injury or illness, the party may consider continuing with their journey. When dealing with a major injury, which should be considered life-threatening, ranges from a deep gash, head injury, to a broken bone. A major illness is anything from hypothermia to hyperthermia, breathing problems, possible heart attack, or even stroke. When dealing with a major injury or illness, the trip is over. All major injuries or illnesses should be considered life-threatening. The only question at this point is to ask yourself how to get the individual evacuated. Each person should carry their own first aid kit. It is for use on your injury or illness. Now, if I use my first aid kit for someone else, and then I become injured or ill, where do I get my first aid from? Along with your first aid kit, you'll need to remember to add your personal medications that you take on a regular basis. When traveling with a group, there should be a group first aid kit for backup when an item in yours has been depleted or needs to be replenished. First aid kits come in several sizes. First aid kits should be considered a must-have in your pack. Now, what size you carry depends on you. There are several sizes to consider. A rule of thumb, how big of a kit you're willing to carry, is determined by your level of knowledge. This approximate 87-piece first aid kit is ideal as an individual first aid kit. Some would consider this 21-piece enough for their kit. But reading the cover, however, gives you a clue why size matters. This is good for your luggage, purse, or briefcase, but there are not enough items to carry for any real emergency situation. Now, going to extreme size is even more than one really needs for oneself. Would you really carry this? It would be considered even too big for a group outing. However, there are times when this size should be used. We're talking a major accident with several people involved. When selecting a group kit, this approximate 120-piece kit would work. It's very important to check the expiration of each item in your first aid kit on a yearly basis. Do this because some do not have a long shelf life.
Hi, welcome back to Freedom TV, and today we're going to be talking about the Tax Day Tea Party with Geoff Ludt.
Yes.
Hi, glad you could be here on short notice, but I'm really glad you are here. Listen, I am impressed because I understand there's going to be tea parties on this Wednesday, our favorite tax day, or as I call it, Federal Extortion Day. And they're going to be all over the country. But you're kind of organizing. Are you organizing here for all of Oregon or the Portland one?
Let's go back a little bit in history here, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Shortly before February 27th, there were a few of us on the internet that organized a rally on February 27th, and that's what occurred down at Pioneer Courthouse Square.
Right, I remember hearing about that.
It's very small. From that, we said, okay, what's the next step? And that introduced the concept of kind of an ad hoc national event.
Cool, excellent.
Like a flash mob type of event that could occur nationwide. And we started getting phone calls from other cities that wanted to participate.
Excellent. So it all started here in Portland?
No.
No.
It all started on the internet.
Okay, well, but I mean, the people were here in Portland, so we can count.
Sure. We had people here in Portland.
Excellent. That's excellent.
Yeah.
So it all started on the internet, and
right. It all started on the internet. There was probably initially 12 of us that were involved.
Excellent.
And we had that first rally, 40 cities participated and about 30,000 participants.
Wow. That's impressive for short duration, quick, smart, get it done.
It took 2 weeks of planning. It was done in 2 weeks.
That's amazing.
That's one of the really amazing things about it, was that entire event was publicized and done in 2 weeks. We've had a lot more lead time up to this event, and we have a lot more cities on board. And to get back to your question, am I the organizer of all of Oregon? No, I'm a coordinator of Oregon.
Okay, great.
And I'm the Portland organizer.
Right.
So there are event organizers in 21 cities.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't realize there were that many cities.
Yeah.
Oh my God, 20. Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah. And
that's incredible.
And I've been out to Bend, and I've met the folks out there, and I talked to folks in Astoria, and the real power of what we're doing is not that we're all assembling in Washington, D.C. It's that we're everywhere.
Exactly.
And it's a flash mob of the nation saying,
excellent. We've had enough.
It's it.
We've had enough.
We're assembling now. Yeah. 2010 is coming.
Yeah. And we've had enough, and we're tired, and time to quit. So what's behind the whole idea? What's the kind of the foundational idea behind the Tea Party? I mean, what's the major overarching statement that we're hoping to say, well, to the federal bureaucrats?
Well, With
Or is
me,
it different?
it's a personal thing.
Yeah.
With me, it was waking up one night, and I have 3 kids, and I was looking at my youngest, and I was thinking about the national debt, and I have some background in economics, and I thought, you know, what is this all going to portend for the future? And what does it mean to my little boy
Yeah.
who's, you know, he's 2 years old?
2 years old.
Or my daughters. What does that mean? If you look at what the federal government is doing now, and you extrapolate it or forecast it out into the next few years, we're looking at $12 trillion in spending.
That's just, I don't know. I mean, I think of those kind of numbers, and I try and wrap my head around 12 trillion. And so I go 1, 2, 3, 4, and your mind can't conceive of that kind of number.
No, it can't.
It's impossible.
Yeah.
It's like $1 billion, okay, I can sort of wrap my mind around that. But 12 trillion, that's like 40 bazillion zeros after a number.
Well, if you want to put it into perspective, it is 4 times more expensive than the inflation-adjusted cost of World War II, and it is 24 times more expensive than the inflation-adjusted cost of the what's Roosevelt's deal?
The New Deal?
The New Deal.
The raw deal?
Roosevelt's deal.
Yeah,
So it's
Roosevelt's
24
deal.
times more expensive than that.
That's incredible.
And it's staggering. What we're doing now is we're monetizing our debt. And what that means is that getting back to my little boy, he's going to be paying that debt through inflation, and he's also going to be paying it through direct interest to the outside parties.
Right, and the outside parties are the ones who are getting the cash. We're just getting the bill.
That's right.
It's not like we're getting anything for this ever-increasing amount of debt, because it's just, you know, the money that's going out is not certainly coming to us, or it certainly isn't creating jobs, certainly isn't helping anybody buy a house. So, you know, what have we got?
Well, the notion that the government can take one job from a company and put it over here to, I guess, build a lodge or something and say they created a job.
It's deck chairs on the Titanic, actually. It's not really creating jobs, is it?
It sounds a little bit like that, yeah.
Yeah. And so the Tax Day Tea Party, getting back to that guy, this is a time when everybody can get together. And I know, how many people showed up for the one in February?
It was the night before the event. I had 33 people RSVP.
Okay.
And there was 100 people that showed up at the event.
Whoa. Whoa.
Well,
that's kind of different.
It really is. It's moms and dads bringing their kids.
Right.
This isn't a movement of college students. It's a movement of folks that are like you and me. These are just average, everyday folks that are like, wait a minute. I don't want my kid paying just the interest for the rest of his life. I got a credit card that I'm paying just the interest on for the rest of mine.
Yeah. You know, let's kind of stop somewhere. I was actually at a meeting about a week and a half ago, and there was a woman sitting next to me who was in her 70s, and she said, "Are you going to the Tax Day Tea Party?" And I went, "Okay."
Isn't that amazing?
I better be there. She's going.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, it was incredible. She and her husband are going to be there.
When I stood up on February 27th, the idea was to inspire other people who normally wouldn't stand up to stand up and say something, because I think in Portland you have kind of a microcosm of what could occur nationwide.
Right.
In that folks that are discouraged from speaking up by kind of a soft tyranny of media messages. You see the bumper stickers that basically is somebody driving by you and they're telling you about your moral inferiority to them.
Yeah.
So you get discouraged with that, and I thought people need to first stand up, and then they need to network.
Exactly.
Because there's more people. I believe this. There's more people that live in Portland that live their lives in a conservative way than we know of, and they're separated.
Yeah.
And I say conservative, I don't mean like your
Bible
traditional.
thumping,
I don't mean your traditional Republican, Democrat conservative.
Yeah, no.
I mean you have a wallet and you pull money out of it,
Right.
and you don't spend more than you have.
Exactly. And so the concept, this is what's always bugged me, is people throw the word around conservative as if everybody knows what it means. But if you get 4 people in a room and ask them what conservative means, you're going to come up with 4 different definitions. So for me, conservative is I conserve my resources. You know, it means I don't spend more than I've got, I don't waste more than I have, and I'm, you know, I'm circumspect about the things that I'm doing. I don't go out and buy 37 cars. I conserve the things that I have.
Yeah, yeah.
So to me, that's what conservative means. It means you conserve what you have. It doesn't mean a set of values or whether you're religious or not. You know, people call me a conservative. I'm not a Christian. I'm, you know, certainly don't look conservative. I drive a Prius. How conservative is that? So, you know, I don't fit into the box of conservative, but a lot of people consider me conservative because I do things like I conserve resources. I conserve, you know, the stuff that all the food that we produce or the waste that we have on our property goes into the worm bin. So to me, conservative means somebody who conserves.
Now, and you think about how you were defining that, your definition of conservative, somebody that conserves. Typically what you have are party organizations that would say, okay, let's take advantage of how this person defines conservative or defines what they do, and let's wedge them off.
Yeah.
We're going to say,
exactly.
we support green technologies.
Right.
So you get wedged off into a party that supports green technologies because that's what you really care about.
Yeah.
Ultimately, though, what it's about is control of the public sector versus the private sector.
Right.
And they wedge folks off using these wedge issues, and then the public sector can grow and grow and grow while people are concerned about you know, green technologies. They're concerned about
Right.
yeah, abortion and all the other wedge issues that are out there.
Right. Just a means to get people to split off. Now, I know we've got some pictures of the event in February, so why don't we go to those?
Okay.
And if you guys can bring those up for us, we'll have those. Oh, this is the silent majority, no more. Yeah, kind of says it all, doesn't it? Now, where's the bottom there? I can't read that.
Nationwide Tax Day Tea Party.
Tea Party, excellent.
Yep.
Cool, I like that one. And I couldn't resist this. I thought this was so cool. I just thought, a tea party,
Yeah.
teapot. Wow, there's a few people.
Yeah, this is the Portland event. This is we originally started the event in Pioneer Courthouse Square, and what happened was we were eventually moved off of Pioneer Courthouse Square because we had equipment. Apparently, they have some rules about equipment. But these are the 100 or so folks that showed up. You can see that they're really from all walks of life. These are just average Americans.
There's everybody there. It's not just one group of people.
Right.
And I thought they're a happy crowd. That's really neat because most of the demonstrations I've seen, people are a little frowny. And this was just a happy crowd.
Well, I think what it is it's an opportunity. You see these folks are standing up for the first time, and they have an opportunity to network with like-minded people. And when you have a situation like that, how can you not be happy?
Yeah, exactly. Which I think is really kind of cool.
Yeah.
And here we're on the move.
Yep.
And so this was from the move from Pioneer Square down to the waterfront?
That's right.
Excellent. And that's going to be pretty much what we're going to be doing
again
on Wednesday. Excellent. So this is on the move, and here we are at the waterfront. Yay. Flags waving. I love it.
Yep.
I kind of like the flags. Now, about what time is this in the evening?
The event starts at 6 o'clock.
Oh, okay.
We'll be walking down to the waterfront a little after 7 o'clock. And then it's all timed to end right at sundown.
Oh, excellent. Okay. And here we have people gathering the tea.
Correct. Yep.
And that is a big thing of tea. And the next is, this is what the Tea Party was all about.
Yep, dumping the tea.
And people forget that is what the original Tea Party in Boston was really all about. And again, learn your Constitution. I thought this was great that you had this on the website.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what we're going to be. Now, permits are all in order for all this stuff, and
Indeed.
We're all ready to go. And did you finally get the permit to do the tea again? Are they
Well,
kinda...
we spoke with a representative, and he said that if we dump the tea in the river, that can't be any worse than what the city dumps in the river on a regular basis whenever it rains.
Yeah, I mean, after all, let's get real here.
So-
Every day it rains. Yeah.
So the permits are all in order.
Excellent.
We expect the crowds, like I said, actually I haven't said this yet, we expect the crowds to be somewhere between 1,500 and 1,800 people.
Excellent.
But there's
Excellent.
been a lot more lead time with the promotion on the radio this time,
Excellent.
so that could change the multiples.
Yeah.
The weather, of course. has-
Excellent. Well, I think there's going to be people there. I don't care what the weather is. I think people are going to show up.
Oh,
We're going
sure.
to take a short break.
Sure.
And then when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about the Tea Party and volunteerism and activism in general.
Sure.
But what we're going to do right now is go to a very interesting short by Steve Doré, and it's called End the Fed, which is something that is one on my wish list, End the Federal Reserve. So with that, we'll go to Steve Doré and End the Fed.
Only one in many know. The Fed Reserve has got to go. Meeting ends is getting tough. Shout it out, we've had enough. Let's put it out of our misery. The Fed Reserve must cease to be. We must end the Fed Reserve. Wake up, people, live and learn. There's no store of value in a fern. All my gumbo rangers know we're freaking doomed, it's a horror show. Government promise ain't worth a damn. The Fed is an outrageous scam. We must end the Fed Reserve. The ship of state is sinking, no lifeboats around. It's got the people thinking, we need higher ground. Run down. You're now in the final stages of this parasite upon our wages. Inflate or die with its last breath. The Fed will eat itself to death. The banksters get what they deserve when Congress ends the Fed Reserve. We must end the Fed Reserve. End the Fed Reserve. End the Fed Reserve.
Hi. Well, the video had a few little problems. I like the bars, though. It kind of looked like we were in jail, financial jail. So we're here with Geoff Ludt,
Yes.
and we're talking about Tax Day Tea Party, which is going to be happening this Wednesday. Yay. Now let's talk a little bit about your background. I mean, how did you get involved in all this? I mean, how did you, have you been an activist in the past? Is this something that you're involved in?
In college, I was involved in student government, and I got to go through the whole rigmarole of learning about activism through the student government perspective.
Yeah, that could be interesting.
Well, you get good training that way.
Really?
Yeah.
That's excellent.
And then after college, I went, I started working.
Right.
And just living. And what happened eventually was I woke up one night. It was after the stimulus package passed, the first one, or not the Bush one, not the Bush-Paulson one. It was the first one with the new administration.
Right.
And that's when I looked at my little boy, and I thought
Right.
about those expenses that he's going to be paying the rest of his life.
And his kids, and their kids.
Well, I thought about what is it when somebody you're paying just on the interest. They're taking a piece of your production for the rest of your life for a debt that was created by our our elected non-representing representatives.
Yeah, exactly.
What is it called when somebody takes away a piece of your production?
Theft.
It can be called theft. Yeah.
Stealing.
Yeah. So that kind of spurred me to raise my hand and step
Right.
forward when I
Okay.
heard about what was going to happen on the 27th of February.
Right. Now, what actually happened on the 27th of February?
Okay, that was the 40
Okay, that's the
40 cities,
right.
30,000 participants.
Okay, right. That was pretty much your first really serious involvement in activism.
Yeah.
Since college, really.
Since college, yeah.
So, pretty good reason.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I look back at that experience, and it's caused me to do some reflection upon my experience even in college, and what the kinds of things that I was for then, and it's caused me to reevaluate the definition of parties, and it's caused me to reevaluate where power lies in this country, and what it was intended to be back when the Constitution was written. So
Now,
there's been a lot of soul searching.
what do you think about political parties? What's your view, your take on political parties? I mean, I have my own view, and I'm, good label.
It evolves, but right now I'm at the point where I feel a little bit like they're marketing organizations.
Right.
And, Reagan said, "I did not leave the Democratic Party, it left me." And I didn't understand that. Because, we're born and we think that everything has been as it is.
Yeah, I know. We always think everything has always been the way it is now, which
Right.
is not true.
But then you think back to John F. Kennedy's speech and his very famous "Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country." And that is that today would be a very, very conservative thing to say. And I understand now what Reagan meant when he said that the Democratic Party left him, because
Right.
it was moving towards more of a command and control, like central.
Right. Yeah, there is a
organization.
lot of control in the and I call it the one thing that's really interesting is it's actually the Democrat Party, but somehow they've managed to convince everybody to rebrand them the Democratic Party. And I'm sorry, from what I've seen, especially during the last election when they just kind of blew off a whole bunch of states, I don't consider that democratic. So I'm kind of hoping people will go back to the actual title of that party, Democrat Party. It is not democratic, which is good job of branding. They're doing a great job of rebranding themselves as the Democratic Party. But I'm sorry, it's not democratic when you refuse to let 3 or 4 states vote in your national convention. Hello.
Yeah. Okay. So back to them being marketing organizations.
Right, marketing, basically.
This is the Republican Party is just as guilty of this.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
They just don't do a very good job of branding.
Their branding is suffered. So they don't get away scot clean.
Right. No.
I've come to think that it's really not. There's no such thing as left versus right.
No.
It's up versus down. It's down to the command and control, centralized authority, or up to the kind of liberty that our forefathers talked about.
Exactly. And that's it. To me, the difference between political philosophies there are people who want control over you, or there are people that want you to have control over yourself. And that's pretty much it. And there's people like that, like both of those things in either party. And for me, it's a matter of, well, which way are you going to make the party go? And if enough people get into a party, whichever party, and start shifting it toward personal responsibility, faith in the average human being as being personally responsible and able to take care of their life and also make good decisions for themselves and their family. To me, that's the direction that, I don't care what party it is, that's the direction the party should be going, rather than providing everything for us, doing everything for us, giving us everything, and at the same time refusing to let us live our own lives to whatever extent we want to that's happy.
What does that mean when somebody gives you everything, but it restricts you in how you live your own life?
Insanity. It's like harmonic dissonance. You're giving me everything I want, but you can't tell. You're telling me how to use what you're giving me. It's
But
like,
are they giving you everything you want?
well, they're certainly not giving me what I want. I want liberty and the ability to make my own mistakes. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I don't want anybody protecting me from making my own mistakes. I'm very kind of one way about that. So I don't want you to take money out of somebody else's pocket so you can give me my art supplies. I'm sorry. I don't think that's cool.
Yeah.
Just like I wouldn't want somebody sticking their hand in my pocket to give something to somebody else that maybe I don't even agree with.
Yeah.
So, you know, and we talk about political philosophies. For me, it's not so much about what party somebody belongs to, but what are they doing? Like what you're doing. You're activating people in an event to get them to stand up and use their own voice. Is
Right.
is that an important thing for you see in your future? As something
Absolutely.
that you want to continue doing?
Absolutely. I think that encouraging others to speak their mind is a righteous calling.
Yeah.
And I foresee that being something that I would like to do in the future, yes.
Yes. Do you have any idea of the kinds of things that you might be involved in, or the kinds of things that you would like to do?
At this point, I would like to get the April 15th event done.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, nothing like planning your next event before you've done the one you're doing.
Yeah. You know, I try to think out, and I really can't wrap my mind around anything past April 15th.
Yeah. It's like, get to April 15th and then we'll be cool.
Yeah. I'd like to get to April 16th and take a nap.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Now, we've got a few minutes before we're going to go and take another little short break with a very interesting comedy video. But tell me a little bit about some of the things that are going to be happening.
Okay.
Just a couple of things, and then we'll talk more about it when we come back.
Okay, the whole event starts off with a gentleman coming out and in colonial attire,
Cool.
reciting the Declaration of Independence.
Excellent.
From memory.
Oh, from memory?
From memory.
Oh, whoa.
Yes.
Oh, whoa.
Yes.
This I've got to see.
And he found me through the internet and is very excited about it, and I'm very excited about the
Excellent. Excellent.
him starting with that. Then we go through the Pledge of Allegiance, and then we're going to go into some what I call We the People speaking,
Excellent.
and it's not about politicians standing up there and promoting themselves. It's about the people that are going to be, that feel this pain, that feel the same kind of pain that I felt when I looked at my little boy, talking from the heart about what is going on and what it means to them.
Right.
And these are the people that have been inspired and engaged by what's going on.
Excellent.
And then we're going to have our ceremony where we take the tea and we rip open our little packets of tea and we pour it into a collective bins, and then we're going to walk down to the waterfront.
Excellent.
Dump it in, a few remarks, and from there we're going to use the opportunity to network and grow the movement, just like we did with the February 27th event. We started with 30 people, it went to 100 people. We're going to have 15 to 1,800 people at this event, and we're going to network with all of them. We're going to give them the opportunity to make contact with us and to keep contact with us, because there are 8 more events scheduled between now and 2010.
Okay, that sounds good. We're going to leave it right there. And we're going to go to a very short video. We're going to talk more about the Tax Day Tea Party when we come back. Now, this is one of my favorite videos. This is by David McElroy, and it's called We're the Government and You're Not. So we'll go to David McElroy and We're the Government.
A nation is known by its people. Throughout this world, America is known because of the diverse group we call Americans. They're black and white, and every color in between. Men, women, young, old, all share dedication to the American dream and to the idea that we all share equally in the task of building and strengthening our democracy through good citizenship. But what does it mean to be a good citizen today? What do you owe to your fellow man and to your government? In the next few minutes, we're going to answer that question. Obey these rules instead of following your heart or your head. Why? Because we're the government, and you're not. Tom is a businessman who employs 12 people in his small restaurant. He started with nothing and has made himself a wealthy man through hard work and long hours. He knows that it's his work and the hard work of millions like him that creates wealth and provides jobs for an entire nation. But at this moment, he's wondering whether it's all worth it. As the tax audit goes on, Tom's patriotic desire to help the economy and provide jobs for working Americans starts to fade. He experiences strange emotions of fear and greed, wanting to keep his money all for himself. Finally, in desperation, his greed reveals itself through latent homicidal tendencies. But what Tom doesn't understand is that everything depends on wealthy people paying their taxes. Where would we be without their money? Tobacco farmers wouldn't get the subsidies that allow them to provide high-quality cigarettes to the world. Disadvantaged young mothers wouldn't be able to have food stamps that let them obtain the necessities of life. Scientists couldn't do highly important research on methane gas from cows, and other countries wouldn't get the foreign aid that helps them trade with us and learn our democratic ways. So when Tom wishes he could keep more of what he produces for himself, he's just being selfish and short-sighted. Yes, since Tom is a very productive citizen, he owes everything to us. So Tom and others like him should be thankful that the tax man doesn't take it all. So lesson number 1 is, pay your taxes and be thankful that we let you keep any of your money. Next, we turn our attention to Mary. She has a great entry-level job at a bank, and she was taught to be responsible with her money. She's a very frugal person and never spends money when she doesn't have to. By careful shopping, Mary doesn't spend money on expensive furniture. Mary lives in a modest home in the basement of an old apartment building, but she has a keen sense of style within the confines of her meager budget. She isn't the sort of frivolous person who spends lots of money for gourmet food. She saves every penny she can by eating thrifty meals. Mary is also careful to conserve her resources. For instance, she hasn't had to buy new napkins or paper towels for months. But as Mary looks at the economy, she's troubled and she wonders what she can do to make a difference so that everyone can live a better life. But what Mary doesn't know is that today's modern economy is built on credit and spending, not on thrift and savings. Responsible people know that they should be borrowing and spending all that they can. Even things that were considered frivolous spending in the past are now understood to be powerful generators of wealth for certain people. Take gambling, for instance. What better way to have fun and pump money back into the economy than to blow a few $100s of your savings on a state lottery or at a casino? And what about that big screen plasma TV you've always wanted? No cash? No problem. Just say, charge it, and take it home to your family. You see, debt is good for the economy. When you borrow money, you pay large interest payments. This props up bank profits and makes everyone feel good. So buy that impressive house, fill it with expensive furniture that you can't pay for, and keep those credit cards maxed out all the time. In addition to keeping corporate profits high, you also help spend trillions of dollars for products made in other countries, which makes foreign governments happy and makes state dinners at the White House more festive for everyone. Also, remember that by spending money on expensive things you can't afford, you encourage your neighbors to do the same thing, and you teach your children that outspending others is the key to happiness. Mary's learned her lesson. Her credit card is her friend, and she's boosting the economy while she lives a better life. So, lesson number 2 is, spend all the money you can. Don't be greedy and save it for yourself. In every group, there are a few bad apples who want to make life difficult for everyone, and that's true even among Americans. There are some people who are just naturally rebels and troublemakers. They're not fond of rules, and they have no respect for the status quo. These are the people who ask the questions that don't need to be asked.
Why aren't other political parties allowed on the ballot? Why do Democrats and Republicans get to make up rules to keep other parties off?
As we all know, our two-party system is a cornerstone of the Constitution. Allowing different ideas on the ballot would just confuse everyone. Imagine where that confusion might lead. We could end up with something dangerous like libertarians in Congress. And you know what that would mean.
Why does our government spend so much time and money telling other countries what to do? Doesn't it just make them hate us and cause problems down the road?
As the world's one remaining superpower, the United States has a sacred duty to tell other countries what to do. One of the fundamental responsibilities of a superpower is to bully other countries and create conflicts which then require us to solve. This is especially popular among broadcast media, who see their ratings go up during times of world crisis, as viewers tune in to see bodies being blown up on live TV.
Why do they spend billions of dollars to try to stop illegal drugs when the same tactics didn't work with alcohol prohibition?
Yeah, and why does the government even pay farmers to produce another dangerous drug, tobacco?
Some people just don't understand politics. You see, it is younger people who abuse certain drugs, so they are illegal. But because older people vote and hold their legislators accountable, the drugs they abuse are legal. It's really the only fair way. As you can see, these troubled youth are asking questions which are bad for public morale and clearly indicate that they favor criminal activity. There's really only one place that's appropriate for people who ask questions like these. Why? Because we're the government, and you're not. So, lesson number 3 is, don't cause trouble by asking embarrassing questions or by not supporting your government. So now you know how to be the kind of citizen your government wants and needs. Pay your taxes without complaint. Spend all you can in order to help the economy. And don't ask questions that don't need to be asked. If you follow these simple rules, you'll be a good, patriotic American citizen. This is Jenkins in Propaganda. I can't take your call, so leave me a message.
Yeah, this is Bill House at the IRS. We've reviewed the video that you sent over, and we really think you need to make the tax guy seem nicer during the audit. You know, more talk about voluntary compliance and all that garbage. Make him look like somebody's nice uncle or something. It makes us look like we're not so nasty, okay?
This is Barry Sands of the DEA. We just got a copy of that thing about how to be a good citizen, and this thing has got to be changed. There's nothing in here about the evils of drugs and how using drugs is the same as supporting terrorists. Now, you know the routine. We've got to make changes to this ASAP, so call me and let's get together on it. I won't be in the office this afternoon, though, because I'll be at driving school so I can get out of that DUI I got last month. But call me, all right?
Welcome back to Freedom TV. We're talking about the Tax Day Tea Party with Geoff Ludt. And I'm just so glad you were here. I'm just so glad you could just kind of slip in and talk about the party, because I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a great time.
Yeah.
What, last time when you did the first tea party, what was the reaction of the people who were at the tea party afterwards? I mean, what did they tell you? What was your feedback?
I'm getting a lot of feedback. I have several folks that have kind of self-identified as being activists. They're telling me that they're feeling more alive now than they felt in their entire lives.
Really?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
From one event. That's amazing.
Yeah. Well, and they got involved in that event, and they're helping with this event. And the feeling is that, you know, finally I can step up and affect positive change in a way that is meaningful to me.
Right.
And I'm getting that from a lot of people.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Because there's no end of activism here in Portland. I mean, this is like activist central. I mean, there's so many groups and organizations and things that you can do. And I've heard of things like the Bus Project, where they go around in a bus and they register people to vote, and they have parties and things like that. But to me, this is true activism because it's based on principles behind it. We went to the Bus Project one time. It was really interesting. We went to one of their events, and so the woman was signing up people for a day for democracy.
Okay.
And so I just point blank asked her, I said, "What is democracy?" And she just looked at me with this sort of dozy cow look of, "Bah, I don't know," and said, "Well, isn't it what we have in our country?" I mean, she couldn't even articulate what she was doing at the event and promoting. And to me, that's like, what are you doing? Why are you here? But with the Tax Day event, people know why they're going to be there.
Yeah.
And they know what they're on about. Now, you mentioned a few more events that you've got scheduled up your sleeve. Do you want to drop any hints? Or?
Well, I know that there's the July 4th event that'll be
really?
Occurring as well. Yeah.
Oh,
that's
cool.
the next one that we're planning. And there's 8 of them rolling up to 2010. And the goal is that they will be progressively larger and project more of the power of the people to our elected representatives. On February 27th, we put them on notice. The theme of that was repeal or retire.
Oh,
and
whoa,
so far we've heard nothing. From them.
Really?
A surprise.
What a surprise.
Well, they probably didn't even notice us, so it's okay.
Yeah, it's like, ho-hum.
This event, the theme is the same, but what I'm going to stand up and say is what you're seeing before you is the beginning of an army of activists.
Right.
And it is time to stand down from your assault on liberty, or we're going to stand up and retire you.
Yeah. And it's going to be a peaceful retirement, because we will actively work to get you out of office and replace you with somebody who's going to be able to do the job. And speaking of doing the job, you do have an opportunity to call in now if you have any questions of Geoff, or questions in particular about activism or things that we can actually do in the future. Now, one of the things I wanted to ask you about activism in general is, there's a certain element that I've found in some of the events that have happened around town. It's just kind of an angry element. And there have been a couple events around town where I know personally the people who are organizing it, some people kind of came in and everybody's going, well, who are they? And they started causing trouble. Now, not that you're going to anticipate that, but is that something that you've seen in other events, that there's been sort of like an element that everybody kind of wonders, well, who are you guys? We don't know who you are, because you sure didn't work with us to put this thing on.
Yeah, there's an element of folks, trying to jump in front of the parade. You've seen it in some of the events that occurred, say, in 2007, where the anarchists stepped in front of the parade for that the progressives had put on for some, I can't even remember what the cause was, but the anarchists stepped in front and they really stole the message. We do expect some of that to occur.
Yeah.
But that's really not what it's about. It's not about getting the message out to the mass media.
No.
It's about doing an end run around the mass media.
Right, and empowering individuals, because it's like, if the media doesn't show up, we don't really care.
It really doesn't matter.
Excellent.
It's about empowering those folks that do attend the event to go tell their friends.
Exactly.
And to get on the internet and network with their friends on Facebook and all these other social networks. That's how this thing's growing.
Really?
Yeah.
And that's an area. I mean, I just got hooked into Facebook a couple months ago, and I'm not real good at sort of networking out there because I don't have the time. But I can see how it can be utilized to really, you could just spiderweb out to all kinds of people in all kinds of directions. So these kinds of new tools that are showing up for people to get together don't depend on having to go through the regular channels.
Right.
So do you expect the media to be there? Do you think the media will show up for this?
There will be some media there. I know that Victoria Taft
okay.
from the radio station KPAM is going to be there.
Okay.
Was I supposed to say that?
Oh, yeah, you did, you know. She'll be
did.
there. It's
Sorry.
the truth.
I know that it's going to be held in Pioneer Courthouse Square, and
Yeah.
there's a TV station there now.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they closed the blinds and just pretended it wasn't happening. No, we don't see anything. There's nothing going on behind us. Don't look behind us. Don't look at the man behind the curtain.
Right. So the media is going to be there almost because we're where the media is.
Right.
So, yeah, I guess there you have it.
Well, then hopefully they will show up. I mean, you'd think if you gather 1,000 people in one place, the media might take notice. But then again,
but even if they don't, it really doesn't matter.
Yeah, because this really is about the people.
Yeah.
And getting the people energized.
Yeah, they may not notice now. You know, it's like Gandhi said.
Yeah.
First they ignore you, and then they laugh at you, and then they fight you, and then you win.
Then they join you.
Exactly.
You know. So, and that's the Gandhi approach is really kind of the way to go.
I believe so.
Yeah. And a term came to mind. A friend of mine, she's a Chinese woman, and her English is fairly good, but she has this crossover thing, and she said, "Oh, you're talking about braving up," and I thought, what a great term, brave up.
Yeah.
In other words, stand up and be brave about what you're impassioned about. And then she kind of rolled it up into one phrase, brave up, which I thought was kind of a cool way of looking at it.
Yeah, it's about making the switch from I should to I will.
Exactly.
You know.
And then you move on one step, I am.
I am.
You know?
Yeah, I am.
Then,
You're right.
Yeah.
It should be I am.
I am. So, the people will stand up. And I think what's interesting is it's a hopeful thing. It's not like some of the other, quote, protests. This isn't really a protest. This is more we're standing up and we want you to know that we're being counted and listen to us.
Yeah, somebody's counting us.
Yeah,
you should probably consider counting us too.
Yeah, somebody's counting. We're counting. So I think that, this Wednesday is going to be a very telling event. And I'm looking forward to kind of a happy event. And hopefully the weather will cooperate with us.
Yes.
I don't know. I haven't looked at the...
55 with a chance of showers. So.
Yeah, well, that's Oregon.
Yeah.
Any day in Oregon, 55 with a chance of showers.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what it was about 2 days ago.
So you think you'll be taking a relaxing vacation afterwards and kind of winding down and?
No, I've got to do everything that I've stopped doing.
Right. I forgot to ask you. What is your business? What do you do?
My wife and I have a business where we teach music.
Really?
Yeah, she actually teaches the music, and she
Excellent.
has some other women that help her with that.
Excellent.
And I do the books.
You do the books.
Yeah.
You do the not glamorous stuff, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's kind of a combination, activism and music.
Yeah, it's
kind of a neat way to put the things together, though.
Yeah. So I've got a lot of stuff to do with that,
Yeah.
and then there's planning for the July 4th event, and then consolidating some of the Oregon stuff that's happened.
Right, exactly. And are you getting some people on board that you can kind of passel some of this stuff out to and
certainly
kind of good.
Oh,
excellent.
Yes. A lot of people
Excellent.
are stepping forward to volunteer.
Yeah, that's the one thing I noticed is I participated in one of your conference calls. It's like, I went, wow, these people are cool. They're actually standing up and volunteering to do something.
Yeah.
This is kind of unusual. Usually everybody kind of sits in the background and goes, oh, God, if somebody else doesn't, then maybe I will. But these people were just right out of the gate. They were just standing up and saying, yeah, I'll take care of that. No, I'll do this. So.
Yeah. I think what they recognize is the sacrifice that when somebody sees somebody else making a sacrifice,
yeah.
they want to help with it.
Yeah,
You know,
that's interesting.
they understand that, like they understand personally. I mean, I've done some fundraising, and they understand that it's a personal sacrifice that I'm making. If I don't get the funds, then
you get the
I'm
bill.
Paying. Yeah. So I'm getting folks that are sending in money for fundraising. I'm getting folks that are standing up. You know, hey, do you need tables? We've got tables. Hey, do you need a PA system? We've got a PA system.
Excellent.
You know, it's amazing. How many people do you need to walk around the crowd and collect signatures?
Yeah,
You know,
excellent.
Who's going to carry the tea?
Yeah, who's going to carry the tea? Okay, well, we just have about 40 seconds left here, and I have a kind of a habit of asking people, what's the one thing that impassions you quickly in one sentence, the thing that you get out of this the most? What is the one thing that really drives you in all this?
The idea to inspire others to stand up and say what's on their mind.
Excellent. Thank you. And thank you for being here, and thank you for being here, and we'll see you next week. We have a really good show for you next week, so join us, and in the meantime, start using your voice. This is Freedom TV. See you next week.
I cry for my country, for the pain that it's been through. She's been made to suffer for the profit of a few. Storm clouds are forming, winds of change now touch our shores. Our heat forefathers are crying as the dream's been crucified. America, I show my love for thee with strength and loyalty. America, I show